Hello?
This is Next Level Podcast. Is that right?
Nope.
It is. This is the other level. This is. I couldn't listen to any.
I don't. To be fair, there's no episodes.
There are no episodes.
To be fair, it's a good point.
This is
Next level thoughts.
Next Level Thoughts. This is. That's what I said that first. I feel like
Way back.
Because it's based on your Instagram story.
It is. You know.
Pay attention.
Oh my goodness.
This is Next Level Thoughts with Patrick and Erin. You want me to say my name more officially? This is Next Level Thoughts, Erin Tracy episode.
It's good. I think we're synced. That officially synced it. We are here at Next Level Thoughts, and you are right, there's no episodes released yet.
No.
So you're trying to watch for any of it. There's no structure to this at all.
I'm completely underprepared.
Yeah, no one's ever prepared here.
Yeah.
I don't do anything to prepare.
Yeah.
I just get either the water, coffee, or alcohol, and then I'm like, hey, what do you guys want? And then we go from there.
So it's like you're just a waiter for your own podcast.
I legit tell people, like, what do you, coffee, water, alcohol, I got you the water. And you brought me cookies.
I brought you cookies. It's
which
what
I
do.
had before at the Second City.
Oh, yeah, Second City.
Which I know they're good already, because I've had it there, and I'm like, dude, these are really good.
Good.
My diet is very mad at you, but...
I wondered about that. That's why I didn't bring you a whole lot.
It's like a bag with like 12 of them.
But I'm going to eat them all. I didn't bring you like a whole lot because I feel like sometimes I tend to do this. Like I'll bring cookies wherever I go, like when I'm going to hang out with people, you know? And people will be like, oh, my diet, and like...
You're like, I can't.
I'm like, oh, well... Like, shut up and, like, just have a cookie. You know what I mean? I don't know.
What I forgot to do is I have to introduce you officially.
Yeah. Okay.
I always forget to do that. So, officially introduction.
It's very professional.
It really...
I'm calling my manager.
In one of the episodes, I went, like, 40 minutes in before I'm like, oh, yeah, I forgot. Let me introduce, like... So, Erin Tracy, and you are a comedian living out here in LA. So, comedian. Which is, I had one actor on.
Yeah.
And it was fun. I like comics. I like just talking to comics, and I miss not talking to them.
Was that my introduction?
Yeah, that was it.
It's done now.
It's a very quick introduction.
Wow, someone waited 40 minutes for that.
Yeah, someone waited 40 just for me to be like, oh, by the way, this is, this is Brett Morfo Band. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
Someone waited 40.
I thought, like, you know, like, tell them what I do.
Oh, okay.
Like,
should I do another one?
It's up to you. I mean...
Oh, no.
I'm willing to be This is Erin Tracy, an LA comedian.
You are more than that, though. You were in Utah performing, you have mics and shows.
That was stressful.
Very, very good. Wait, how's it stressful?
Utah was stressful. I'm sure Mike Perkins talked to you about that.
We didn't talk
I
about
would have watched that episode if it had been available.
I will put that was a fun one. He did a whole bunch of impressions, and we were just here, just laughing and BSing over just everything.
Are you trying to make me feel jealous?
No, I love him, kind of.
You do? Yeah, he's a good guy. He's a really good guy.
He is a good guy. He came from the improv film like me, so we bonded over that. But he didn't tell me much about Utah except that it was good being around, like, doing comedy again. Yeah. But he said said you went hiking after, I think, but he didn't. Yeah,
so we did a show, but I went early because I've been alone in my studio apartment now for 5 months, which has been
well, you have your dog.
Well, my dog.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the same as human companionship, but almost now at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But I went early and went to Zion because that's near where the show was, Zion National Park. In Utah.
I don't know where.
It's kind of famous. I don't know if you've heard of it. I went to Zion and I hiked, and like everything is different with COVID. Like I wore my mask the whole time. This is
the most.
This is a little.
Are you
freaking me out? But hey, here we are. But I will say, there you have to take this little tram now. They won't let you drive to the trails. You have to take their like shuttle bus basically. And in Utah, I'm not sure if Mike told you this, but like there are some people very aggressively not wearing masks.
Yeah, he did tell me that.
Yo.
He said they don't believe in COVID there.
It is so crazy. And that bus was where I first experienced it because I got on that bus like early morning. Everybody's wearing masks. Everybody's young. It was like going to a hard hike, and so whatever.
Okay.
We get on that bus to come back, and like the whole back of the bus, everybody's wearing a mask. And then the whole front of the bus is like this one family, and nobody's wearing a mask. And like the tension is thick because like all the signs up. It's a national park, so there are a bunch of signs that are like you gotta wear a mask to get on the bus. But like the bus driver is not gonna
tell him,
right? Because like he needs health insurance, right?
Yeah.
Like,
what are you gonna be like? Hey guys, by the way.
Yeah. So it's like this family and like this grandma who fucking like she wants you to say something to her. She's got like the like the let's
hardcore
go
grandma
energy.
Like, fucking, what you gonna do?
Yeah, like making eye contact with those of us in the bus that are wearing a mask. Like, say something. I dare. She's like handing out trail mix. Like, you like this kind? Oh, okay, that's good. I dare you. You know what I mean? It's like crazy because like you're the person we're doing this for. You know,
exactly.
Like,
you're the type of people. And you're really.
It's like, okay, this is going to be interesting. But we did the show, and then I went to the Grand Canyon, which was lovely. Like,
Never
I wish
been.
I had never been before. You should go.
Did you? The only thing I know about the Grand Canyon is you had the little thing where you could look over it. Can you go like? This might be a dumb question. Could you go in it?
Yeah, I mean.
I have no idea what the Grand.
Yeah, so I also. I didn't know.
Okay.
It was the first time that I went. But you can, like, all the hikes are basically down into the canyon and then back up as far as you want to go, for the most part. Obviously, there are exceptions to that rule, but for the most part, those are the hikes. So, and you can ride, like, you could ride a mule all the way down to the bottom and spend the night. There's, like, a famous tour that does that. Spend the night next to the Colorado River and then ride back up the next day. I'd like to do that the next time. I rode a mule, but just around the outside.
Around the outside, but not the one
that went down in. But I hiked down in. I didn't go all the way down because it was too hot. But I hiked Bright Angel.
How hot was it over there? Like hundreds, right?
Yeah, it was pretty toasty. And those are so deceptive because. Like, hiking down is so easy.
Yeah,
so you're like, I can go another mile, and then you turn around and it's just straight up
terrible.
to get out of the canyon. You're
it's
like,
It's that steepness of like, yeah, I've been on a few. Well, I only go to the one trail here in Glendale, Brent Park. You see the mosquito?
Yeah, get it.
Did you kill it?
No, I wish I
You'd
had
be
that
the first.
much
Oh, also, I want to make sure one thing.
Is it gonna bite me?
I always do this like once an episode. I always feel like I didn't hit record.
I feel like this is... Have we not been recording?
No, we haven't. But this... Make sure the mic volume is good. See, like, this is being weird.
You need a tech.
Oh, no, it is recording. It is recording. It's just looking really weird.
This is why there have been no episodes released yet. Just because you haven't actually taped any of
I'm going to edit all this out. I do this like legit once an episode because I get scared. Sure. But on the bright side, I did record every little thing we just did.
Great.
And I'm not going to edit this part out. I want people to know how bad it is here. I want people to be like, oh, dude, I'm not going to that.
Yeah.
Exactly what I want.
Is that what the next level is? The next level is
it's just
no level at all?
Uncertainty. It's very uncertain. That level is very uncertain.
The next level is...
It's just...
Maybe beyond this one.
It really definitely is beyond this. There's no structure here.
Yeah, go to the Grand Canyon. It was magical. I wish I were still there.
Really? Is that a shot at this podcast? Like, I really wish I was there and not here.
No, it wasn't intended to be that.
I know you saw the mosquito again.
It wasn't intended to be that, but
wait, how
it does apply to the situation.
Hey, thanks, I appreciate that. How are the shows like during COVID?
That's the only show I've done that's like a socially distanced in-person show. Mm-hmm. Like everything else I've been doing a lot on Zoom. Yeah,
I was gonna do you and Mike Perkins had a show Monday. And I told him I was going to watch it to, just watch you guys. And I couldn't, I got back late that night. How are Zoom shows?
I mean, that's what the whole Burbank Comedy Festival is.
Yeah, but,
weird. You know, Okay.
Honestly, because I'm talking to everyone and I've asked everyone this.
Okay, this is what I think. It's not the same thing, obviously.
Yes.
Like, it's not the same. It's obliquely related to stand-up comedy.
Big word. You can't use big words on the podcast. I don't
that's
know
right. We're not at that
We've
level
had
yet.
to.
It is like a similar skill set because you're telling your jokes.
You could have said that. I got that.
It's a similar skill because you're like telling your jokes and trying to connect with an audience.
Yeah.
Obviously, the timing is weird.
That's what I hear. Timing's
weird. Like if any other noise comes up, people might miss part of your joke, which can be tough. But like, I don't know. I feel a lot of people are really anti-Zoom comedy. They're like, yeah, I'm not doing that. Like, it's not the same thing. I kind of feel like, okay, but why would you stop writing and performing and like connecting with people? Yeah. Just because your ego is too big to like do your comedy in front of a Zoom screen. You know what I mean? Okay. Like I've gotten to know new people. People that aren't in LA now follow me. You know, like all of the things that you're trying to do and like build an audience and make connections with people and keep the writing going. I mean, it does all those things. So, but does it feel like you're standing in a room full of people with a microphone in your hand? No. Feels like you're just sitting in your living room talking to your computer. Yeah. But it's like, I don't know. Why wouldn't you?
I haven't done any of the Zoom thing, but I'm trying to be productive, like podcast, like your gaming thing. I'm trying to do other things while stand-up is not here. Yeah. And just do all that, so then when stand-up comes back, I can just fully devote myself to that again. Yeah. But I just couldn't bring myself to do
a Zoom show?
That wasn't a COVID cough. That was an asthma allergy.
I'm nervous. Where's my mask?
Do you know how hard it is to have asthma and allergies during this time? When I go get groceries, I can't cough. Yeah. Like, I hate it. I promise I don't have COVID.
How do you know?
Good point. I don't. I promise you, I am very safe, and I hand sanitizer in my car, here, mask, and the whole thing. Yeah. And you were just in Utah on the road, so I don't want to hear that. I'm like, you were just on the road doing comedy.
I've been tested, though.
Have you? Since you got back? You have not.
I have been quarantining, though. I have not even gone to the grocery store. This is the first.
How do you eat? Just DoorDash?
No, I do like one of those meals delivery subscriptions. So I do. This is not sponsored territory foods. They do like healthy meals. I don't like to cook.
Well, don't do what I do, because I don't like to cook either. Like right now, I'm slow cooking chicken.
I was gonna say there's a smell in here. Like some people's houses just smell like food. And
no, I definitely. Okay. Because I don't like cooking either, but I realize if I do, like right now, slow cooked chicken, and I take it out, I put it all in Tupperware, and then that's just my, like that with like eggs or with I don't know, rice or quinoa. Yeah. But like, I don't like cooking like meals. Like, let's cook. I hate that.
It's hard to do that for yourself.
And I don't like doing it, and I'm not good. Yeah. So if you do what I do, the lazy way, it's like right now I'm doing a podcast. If I'm done, chicken falls apart. Tupperware, I have meals. Yeah. So. I
like it. Sometimes I'll do that, but getting back, I've been in quarantine for a while now, like being good and not having
just being straight at home.
Yeah.
How, like, what are you doing? I guess you're still doing
I'm teaching, so I teach at Second City Hollywood. I teach stand-up.
I did not know that.
Yeah, you did.
Did I?
Talked about this.
I was there. You had shows there.
Yeah, it shows there. I teach there. So I teach online for them, and now everything's online.
So you teach stand-up online.
Mm-hmm. Now everything's online.
How do you... I'm always curious about... And this is... Because we're going to disagree in this part. Because I know we are, but I'm glad. Because I don't believe in... I don't think comics should take stand-up classes. Yeah. But... If you're a stand-up and you do it, why not do it? Yeah. I get it. So I guess my question to you is, what would you teach? How would you teach someone to... How do you approach that? That's what I want to ask.
Yeah, I think it's... So, first of all, I think the big benefit is that you have to write and perform new material every week.
Okay.
So, and you get feedback on
it. And it gives you, I guess, like a deadline, too. Like, hey, have this done by then. So that's a benefit. Okay.
Yeah. So you're right. I mean, there's definitely... There are pros and cons in terms of, like, I don't love the stand-up classes where you, like... I feel like there are a few stand-up teachers where I know who their students are because I'm like, oh, that's that teacher. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you can feel their style. So
I get molded into, like, the teacher.
Yeah, I try to be very careful about that and, like leave space for for people to cultivate their voices. But it's like introducing people to different ways of writing, doing joke writing, basically. And then they perform a set, and then we talk about it.
Okay.
And so it's practice. It usually builds really good community in the class, which you know how important that is in comedy. You know, like your people that you start off with are so important. So, you know, that I've got a really good class right now. I'm sad. We just had their last class. We're about to have their class show on Tuesday. But you know, I think it's really helpful. I think it keeps you writing and performing and having a certain degree of rigor around, like, thinking about the work. That's different than when you're just on your own.
Okay.
So it's not like I'm going to teach you how to be funny. It's like,
that's why I was getting
different ways to, like, structure writing jokes, right? Like, here's some structure things, see what happens.
And which way do you do it? What's your way to approach, like, a new joke or bit?
It depends. I mean...
Let's say pre-COVID. It's a pre-COVID. Let's say there's open mics and shows around and everything's back to normal.
Like, not the writing part of it. You mean, like, I've got an idea for a new joke, I've written it?
I guess the whole hey, going from, like, oh, this is a funny idea to, like, are you one of the people that write down word for word or memorize or...
Dude, I wish I were that consistent in my process.
Just the sigh of, like, you're just like...
It depends on what the joke is and how it comes to me, right? Like, I definitely set aside time each week to do writing. Mm-hmm. So there's some of it that's like a one-liner that is very specific, and I want to be sure that I get the language on it right. You know, that I usually write it down the way I want to say it, and then I'll test it out and see if I need to fix the language on that.
Uh-huh.
Whereas a storytelling, there's a funny story I want to talk about, something like that, then they'll usually write a few jokes I know I want to land throughout the story, right? So that I'm not just up there talking to a microphone with no point ever, like you hear some people
like me.
do. No, I didn't say that. No, not like you. You do a good job. But you know what I mean? Like I want to be sure there are jokes in this, so I'm going to, like, create some structure for the story and be sure that I'm telling the story, but also having moments of commenting on what that story is. So it depends. I would say it depends on what the joke is that I'm working on. And then I take it to a mic. Sometimes if I'm booked on a lot of shows, you know, I'll slip it in.
We all don't have that luxury, okay? We have like 5 shows a week. We don't have that, okay?
Who's we?
Everyone. It's me and all the other comics ever. We don't have that luxury. You were just in Utah doing shows. You get it.
But if I'm on a lot of shows, sometimes I'll, like, you know, if I feel like it's not super long, I might sandwich it in some known material, right? Like, I won't make it my opener or my closer.
I was just about to ask you, would you open with the new material?
No, I mean, I've made that mistake before.
Yeah, I heard. I've done it as well. I think people get so excited to be like, oh, this is my new bit, like, oh. And then you open with it and you're like, oh, I gotta bury myself out of this hole. I did one show really early on. I remember I learned that lesson. It was my own show, and, like, the day of, I wrote all new material for my set. Where
it was a long time ago. It was like, and my lineup was, like, who are super successful right now, and, like, I bombed my host set so hard that I know none of those people will ever respect me.
Isn't that the worst? Like, that see you one time and then you have a bad set, and then they think, like, wow, that person's not good. But you're like, no, I'm good. I have.
So I just wrote it all today.
That sucks so bad.
That was where I learned that lesson.
Especially because you were hosting, so you have to come back up there and then every time you walk
nobody liked me.
Yeah.
Nobody in the audience liked me. None of the comics liked me.
Now I'm just sad.
But I learned that lesson.
Yes, okay.
That.
So now we know.
Don't
open new material.
Don't open one. Don't write a whole new set before a show. Like, do the stuff that you know works.
Oh no.
Or if you have something small and new and you want to do some sandwiching, do sandwiching. But that works for me usually. I can usually like work out new stuff in between. Yeah.
Okay. I did one show where I opened with a new material, like family personal stuff, and I'm like, I'll just open with it in the Flappers Yoo-Hoo show. And they did not like that, and then they just did not like me.
That's what happens.
And then there was no gaining them back. Once you especially you get 5 minutes there, so I can't lose you and gain and then try to get you back in like a minute 45.
Yeah.
Like, you're just not gonna like me the whole way through, and they did not like me the whole way through. There's no doubt about it. They're like, nope.
Yeah.
They did not like me, but yeah, it was good and bad times there at my old job there.
I know.
It's but you were always hosting the shows.
Yeah.
Which I think because I only hosted the mic, which was just hard to get comics to listen to you anyway.
Yeah.
I feel like the shows were like there were some packed like good shows at the Yoo-Hoo Room.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm doing. That's the show. Mike and I were on together. I was hosting. I still host a lot over Zoom.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm a Zoom host, too.
Fuck yeah.
I love hosting.
Yeah, you have very good... And I've told you this before. You have such a positive vibe. And I tell you, you're one of the most likable comics.
That's nice.
Right when you get up there, people are just, I like you. And I've told you this before. And you know how I know is because I forgot one time you said something very mean, but you got away with it easily because no one was like, that's so, and I forgot what it was, but you said a joke or maybe just said something mean to anyone, and no one, everyone was like, we're still on board, we like you.
I've never been mean a day in my life.
That's not true.
Thank you for saying that. I feel like anytime I talk about being likable, people immediately don't like me anymore. There's like a psychological thing, even on this podcast now. I'm nervous.
I know, now it went from
automatically. I used to try to do a bit about that, whereas it's my bit about people describing me as likable a lot. They're like, it's not like.
So I should have not said that.
No, it's
too late. No one's watching.
No one likes it. It's true. It's never gonna make it
online
anyway.
These episodes aren't going anyway.
You just watch them back and then delete them.
This is really cool.
I'll watch this later today.
So I'm actually getting people messaging me are these episodes when are they coming out?
I looked so hard. I stalked so hard so I could prepare because that's the professional thing to do.
Yeah, no,
that's
absolutely.
I'm gonna listen what's the vibe? What do they talk about? You said we talk about nothing. So I was like... That's
what everyone's been asking me. I'm just like...
You should give it a focus.
I know. I should. Well, I think the focus, comedy, stand-up.
Okay, so the point of this podcast is
I guess for sure stand-up, but also, when I talked to Cole Alexander, we talked about hiking for a long time.
Yeah.
With you hiking, and we talked about golfing with him. So I feel like we talk about everything, but the main...
It's mostly hiking and stand-up.
It's mainly hiking and stand-up is what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah. I think that would be an interesting twist for a podcast is
hiking and stand-up.
Yeah, stand-ups who hike.
There's only I don't think there's that many. Well, LA, there's a lot of people.
I was about to say.
There's a lot of people, but...
They're not real hikers.
That's true. Well, apparently I'm not, because... Do you have the... Cole was telling me to get the hiking sticks?
No, I... previously thought that people that had those were wussy, but I needed them really badly in Zion.
Is it because of the steepness of going back?
No, I did a hike. Now I'm going to clear my throat. I feel like I'm getting COVID just by sitting here.
That's fine. There's I cough sometimes. There's a mosquito flying around. I don't want to be here
it's
anymore. This is a lot to take in.
It's a lot to take in after being in my little tiny apartment. No, I hiked the Narrows in Zion, where you basically are hiking in water the whole time. So it's like slippery rocks and stuff, and everyone else had those poles to help them stabilize as they were like shifting their weight. And I was
good physical work, by the way. That's good.
Thanks. That's my movement.
Yeah, that was good.
And I didn't have them, and I was sad about that.
Okay, well apparently
I did a lot of this.
Apparently we gotta be real hikers use the because I didn't think I needed them because I hike here at Brand Park and there's like a steep hill everyone goes up and there's like another part you can go higher.
Yeah.
And I did that. It was like a very steep hill. I got all the way to the top fine. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. But on the way down is when I needed it because I had to
stabilize.
Really inch by inch, and it took me longer to get down because I'm like it hurt me with my knee. I have a bad knee.
Yeah.
I'm like,
down is hard on your knees.
Yeah, and I had surgery on it last year.
How's it doing?
It's good now. I mean, it feels good. Even after hikes, it feels good.
Yeah.
Maybe like the day after, it might be a little sore, but
yeah.
But yeah, you're the first person to ask me about my knee. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. I was actually thinking about it. On the way over here, I was like, I wonder how his knee is doing.
Really?
I think it's part of being like a dancer, though. Like when anyone else has an injury, like you remember, you think about it.
I'm like, how did you remember about my knee?
Yeah, well, I think because I threatened to kick you in it once.
Yeah.
You were like, if we got in a fight, what would you do? And I said, I'd kick you in your surgery knee.
You did say that. I'll kick you in your surgery knee. It's exactly what you said. I'm glad you didn't kick me in my surgery knee.
Well, it was all hypothetical. We weren't actually going to fight.
No.
No. You were like, I think I was telling you I was tough.
That's exactly what you were telling me, that I was tough.
And you were like, yeah, what would you do if we got into a fight? And I said,
I'll kick you.
Which is pretty good, right? It's a good strategy.
It really is. Kicking my knee and then bam, I'm done.
Know your opponent's weakness.
Yeah, I'll be done. If you kick me here, I'll be done. So, I'm glad you didn't kick me.
Note to self.
I'm really glad.
I was not threatening to do it at that time.
I appreciate that. Now people think that you're just trying to hurt me, but it's fine. Wait, you said, the dancing show. That's what you're talking about, dancing. So,
yeah.
I saw clips of it. Was it as hard as it looked? So, what was it? You did a set, then you did a dance at the end of it?
My show?
Yeah.
Dance party comedy show.
Plug it. There's no one watching, but it's fine.
I have not yet done a comedy show of my own online, but I'm thinking about it.
The dance party comedy?
Some version of it.
And the original version, how did that go?
Yeah, so each month had a theme. It was basically, it was like a weird party show. So it's like every month has a theme. And then the song I pick is based on the theme, and the choreography goes with that. You know, like it's all...
So what was the last theme?
The last theme we did... so it changed venues, and it went to Second City Hollywood from Sal's Comedy Club.
Okay.
And we changed... So the theme was based on the new venue, so it was all improv. So the dances were improvised, the sets were improvised, everything was based on audience suggestion. The audience even picked the song that the comics danced to.
Really? Oh, I couldn't do that. See, because I remember we talked about it, and I wanted to do that.
Yeah. And
I didn't want to dance because...
You have to dance. That show was so much fun.
I believe it. Was the improv one?
The improv one was so much fun.
That right now, it got me nervous.
Yeah.
Having a dance, or singing I don't want to do, but dancing I'm kind of the same. But if I picked the song and knew beforehand, I would really practice and be good.
Yeah.
But right now, you saying just the audience picked the song,
Yeah, the audience looks at you and they pick your song and then you dance. So it's always, the dance is before your set. Because I'm interested in
So you dance?
I'm a little sadistic and I'm interested in seeing comics, comics always stabilize themselves at the start of their set. They're always
okay.
And then I think it's very interesting to see a comedian that has to start their material a little off center and a little out of breath.
To throw out, just to not start in your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Pretty much to throw them off their comfort zone and then just, you're out of breath, you're hey everyone, and then you just go from there.
Yeah. It's fun, it's destabilizing in a way that's satisfying.
I like that.
It's also nice to see people, like comics especially, have to be in their bodies in a certain way, you know? But yeah, before the improv show, it would be about 30 seconds, sometimes 35 to 45 seconds of choreography that I would choreograph and send to you before the show.
That I would do that.
Yeah. And then you could memorize it. It's so funny, the people that work so hard on it, like Spence Griffith, like...
Oh, I want to have him on here.
Rocked that dance hard. He, like, studied up on it so hard. Anyway, yeah, so then that's also revealing, too, is, like, then the audience decides whether or not they like you by how seriously you take the dancing as well.
That's true. If you're up there and you're kind of like just... Yeah, then you go and you try to do your set, it's like they already don't like you.
Yeah,
but if you're really like committed, you're like, fuck you. I don't know what the dances
trying.
are. I don't know whatever. I don't know. Whatever they are. But if you do that and you're trying, yeah. So you're a good dancer.
But then I did that with my arm, just with my right arm. I'm
the
only
movement.
a right arm.
It's the flowing movement. I've taken movement class in my acting school, and it's all about like the fluid. What's it? I know there's a word for it, but just a very natural fluid movement.
Yeah.
And with that one move, I saw it. I'm like, oh.
No.
I can never do it.
You could do it. You just have to practice.
I went to school for this, and I know I cannot do this. I have a weird movement. Or I try to be, the note I get is trying to be more...
Less awkward.
Shots. Just in my body. Because even when I walk, my right arm doesn't move that much. It's weird.
Well, you should let it hang.
I let it hang, but like it won't. It legit... It would do this. It would stay like this, and my right arm would swing. Is there like a solution to that?
Yeah, I mean, you can work on your mobility.
But how do I do I just purposely try to move it more? I don't get it.
Well, as a person that's worked with other bodies a lot, there is a variety of possible answers to that question. You might have a tight shoulder that you need to like get a ball and roll it and like work on like opening up that joint.
Oh my god, can you?
Like you can work on mobility stuff. Like that's always available to you. And then like, but if you think it's just like psychosomatic, like you're like
stop with the big words. There's no big words on this podcast.
If you think it's just based on your crazy brain.
Now it seems like you just dumb it down all the way. Crazy brain. No,
I don't know what you want from me.
I'm just kidding.
Then it is something probably that while you're walking, you need to be like, what is my right shoulder doing? Is it moving?
Be aware of it.
Could I allow my right shoulder blade to glide across my back?
God, you sound like all my movement teachers in my acting school. You're like legit, you just sounded like all of them right now. Can my right shoulder glide across and be aware of it?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I mean, I taught that for like some degrees of that for a lot of my life.
Yeah, because you got your degree in that, and there's a specific thing you got it for.
I mean, I went to a school where I was in both the dance and theater programs, so I studied dance theater.
That's good.
But the reason I went there is because I was an actor that could dance and was interested in making work where there was movement, right? There was a movement component and also a like acting, talking component.
Wait, do you consider yourself more of an actor or a comic?
Right now, that's a good question. I think right now I pursue comedy more. And I think I have a lot of acting background.
If one of them were to take what?
No. You're about to ask me a question that I don't know if I have a good answer for it.
You don't think? What do you think I'm gonna ask you?
Like if I had to pick one.
No, I was gonna tell you that.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't think it's fair to.
Yeah.
I guess what I was gonna ask, I could be like, hey, if you had to pick one, what would you pick? And I'm in the same boat. I
guess in a way I kind of already have, right? Because I do comedy a lot. Like I don't. The acting work that I get is. I have a hair. Cut this out.
I'm editing nothing.
I don't want to just throw this on your floor.
You can throw it on my floor.
Now when you get murdered, they're going to find my DNA evidence
like, whoa,
here.
Erin Tracy was here.
It's a blonde hair in your... Whose hair is this? Yeah, so... I'm not one of those people that got into comedy because they were like, it would be good. My agent said it would be good for me to do that. Like, I am not one of those people.
Good impression. Go ahead. Okay, so you're legit got into comedy because you like comedy, not like an actor, agent comedy, which every time I hosted the Friday mic, every week there was a new, like, actor trying comedy, and I loved watching them bomb bad things, like, talking shit after.
I feel like I've only been in LA a couple of years now. I haven't been here very long. And the world that I lived in before this was a lot of experimental dance theater. So it's hard for me to parse out what parts of myself do what sometimes, which is why I have Dance Party Comedy Show is like, I'm interested in, like, comics that can move their bodies, and I'm interested in actors that know how to be funny, and I'm interested in performers
that merge all your worlds together.
Yeah, well, I think that's always a question for me, and something I'm always interested in is, like being in a variety of modes all at once is kind of an interesting possibility that I think about a lot.
Okay. That's interesting. Because you are the first person here that... I think every person I had here has just been, like, strictly comic.
Yeah.
But you are, like, dancer, comic, actress, and all that.
Thank you.
I mean,
I have... But then, like, in terms of what have I been doing since I've been in LA, like, I've acted in some commercials and stuff like that, and, like, been in short films, like, those kinds of things.
Which would you rather have spiked right now as far as, like, for example, would you rather be on, like, a hit TV show or be, like, a headliner, like, on the road?
Well, right now in this moment, TV
show. I mean, well, I get, COVID's not a thing right now. Like, would you rather start, like, being on a TV show that's taken off, or, like, have your stand-up career take off, like, you're headlining and about to film, all you get a possibility to film a special?
Why can't I have both?
I mean, you can, and I'm assuming, like, one of them is going to lead to the other one. If you're on a hit TV show, eventually you're going to be, hey, can I film my stand-up special?
Right. I mean, I feel like my perception of things is so overshadowed by what's happening right now, and my experience on the road, which was, like really so strange to do comedy right now, you know? So I think it's difficult for me to separate those things.
Why did you...
I don't know, I was trying to give you a good... I don't know.
There's no wrong answer for this.
Well, I don't know.
If that's your answer, that's your...
I think my answer is, right now in this moment, I would hope it would be a TV show.
That's fair.
Based on the way the world is right now. Prior to this, I think probably my answer would go the other way around.
Stand up? And like you said, you can have both. I'm sure, again, if you're on a hit TV show and you're doing that, the odds of you getting a stand-up special are way higher than if you didn't have that. So yes, you can have both.
Yeah.
In this. One question I try to ask, I'm trying to, like, come up with a list of, like, 3 or 4 questions that I ask everyone.
Probably should have done that before you started taping this.
Well, no. This is all fine. Like I said, I like the freedom of this.
Yeah, you like to flow.
I don't like
this arm.
Yeah, like not this arm for me, but
well, just flow with that arm so you can get some practice.
Like right now, this is like feels weird.
Well, it's because you're just moving it from the elbow.
Like this.
Yeah, move it from your shoulder joint.
I am. This is my shoulder joint.
Yeah.
Oh. Like, I don't know. I think it is the shoulder that's tight.
Yeah.
I've always had it even since, like, the army.
Are you right-handed?
Yeah.
Yeah. That might also be why your left knee is funny.
Because I'm right-handed?
No, like, often people get injured in diagonals, right? Like,
oh. I did break my right ankle in the army twice.
That's probably why your left knee is funky.
Oh. This is really off topic, but this is what I'm trying to get claimed for the military thing. Because the doctor told me my right ankle might have caused my injury to my left knee.
Yeah, it's all diagonals.
And I just trying to get a doctor to see me and say that that's it, and I can get money from the army. Way off topic.
I'll be your doctor.
Can you please tell my doctor?
Where do I sign?
What was it? Oh, the list of questions. Well, I was saying I like the freedom of
not having a plan.
Yeah, I just don't like. I feel like a lot of conversations just. I don't know. Like I like that. Like I was gonna do a podcast with my friend, and she was telling me like, you do this, but ask this question, and then like whenever it's time to move on to another topic, I'll like wave, and you go on to this topic. I'm like, I just too much. I don't like that. I just like to put my camera about this shit, drinks, and just talk. But I do have. I'm trying to get a list of things at the end. Questions. So one of it is, what is the worst you've bombed?
Well, definitely in the show we talked about where I wrote all new material.
That's what I figured. When you were talking about it, I'm like, maybe that was the question.
Everybody hated me. Like, even, I feel like a lot of the audience... I can see you living it back in your eyes right now. It was so bad. Even the audience was like, I had hosted the mic, something right before the open mic, something like that, and like, a bunch of people hadn't gotten up, and those were the people that stayed in the audience, so, like, they already didn't like me because they didn't get to perform, and then in addition to that, I sucked. So, that was the worst. The other worst, if I have to pick another worst time, I did a show when I was living in San Diego, and I was driving up to LA, like, as I was finishing graduate school. I did an open mic at this bar show, which I won't name. I did an open mic at this bar show, and I killed it, and they booked me on the booked show. And I was so proud of myself, and it was like, cool kid, you know what I mean? And I came back, and I did pretty well on the show.
What is that?
And then a few months later, more than a few months later, after I'd moved to LA, I was like, oh, I'll go to that mic again, and and everything about the bar had changed. Like, it was a restaurant now, and there was a DJ, so, like, where you were standing to perform comedy was, like, where this table is.
Yeah.
And then there was a DJ standing where this backdrop
like behind
like,
you?
right
That's
behind
so
you. And, like, any food that came out of the kitchen had to cross in front of you. And anybody that wanted to go to the bathrooms had to go around you. So, like...
It just wasn't a good place for
like, my brain... And it was one of those mics where, like, if you're doing good, they give you 5 minutes, and if you're not, they give you 3. And, like, I pretty sure got the 3-minute light.
They're trying to let you, like, just get off.
Yeah, like, my brain just... My friend took a picture of me, and, like, in the picture there was a guy going into the women's bathroom behind me, and honestly, that guy was funnier than I was that night. Like,
just going into the bathroom?
It was not...
No bueno.
Like, there was no way to, like... And then it sucked because, like, I had done well there before.
So you had the good memory there, and then now that's another weird thing, too. Yeah. Talking to comics, like, you can have 3 good sets one night, and then you end it on, like, a bad one, and the only thing you're going to take from the night is the bad set, and you go to bed in, like, a bad mood, and you're like, fuck, dude. Like, I know. Comedy is such a weird but humbling thing, and I love it for that.
Yeah, I do, too.
It's such a cool... Because sometimes I'll have a bad set, and I come back and I'm like, fuck, dude, like, can I even do this anymore? What am I doing? All that, have that whole talk.
Yeah. But
it's so cool that you get to have that talk every night or whenever you do because it humbles you.
Yeah.
You can be at the top of the world and be like, dude, I am it. I had the best set, I crushed. And then same material the next night and just bomb.
Yep.
And be like, fuck, dude, I really have to work at this. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like it. It's a very good vibe. I should have ended the podcast with that very good vibe, but I'm not. I'm going to ask more questions.
Yeah.
No, I do have, I have one question that I want to end. Oh, I guess I don't want to end it with that, but I'll ask it right now.
Okay.
Yep.
No, I was just wondering since I don't know anything about this podcast, I'm not sure how long it is.
Yeah, it's 5-hour episodes.
Okay.
5.5. It's very, very, no, I think, so the average time of it, I think, with Cole, I did one that was like an hour 40. With my friend Brandon, it was like 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Or 50. I'm getting better at knowing the time. Like right now, I think we're like at 50-ish.
When did we start? I don't think it's been that long.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure it's been like 50-ish.
Okay.
And then what I'm going to do is when I edit it, I'm going to look at the time mark and I say 50-ish. and I'm gonna be like, hey, I was right or I was wrong.
It depends, I guess, when you start counting.
That's true. We did like a whole pre-thing before syncing the actual footage. That's a good call. Mm-hmm. One question I want to ask you is, what is the best comedy advice you have been given, and what is advice you would give to someone starting off? Which I think is kind of right up your alley because you are teaching new comics as well. That's all the time we have today.
Well, I think the best is hard. The advice that I keep coming back to in terms of myself and what I'm interested in comedy is actually advice that I got from a person that wasn't in comedy, but like was in my life in like watching me perform a lot, right? So like I would make dances and funny words to go together for a long time. And this was a mentor of mine, and the mentor said to me, just be as complicated as you really are. And I think that's something that I like when I think about the comics that I love, and it's something that excites me about comedy right now, is I think we're kind of moving away from a world of stereotypes where people are one thing and kind of say they have a point of view about other people in one way, and we're moving toward a place where I think people are allowing themselves to be more complex within the jokes that they're writing and how they're being perceived as comedians and as humans doing comedy. So I'd say that for me is the thing that I come back to, that I often grapple with, because it's so easy to like be one thing on stage, because then people are on board for that one thing, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then you're like, oh, I'm just tell jokes from this one place. But like, I think what I'm interested in and advice that I was given that I think about a lot is be as complicated as you really are.
That's very, word profound. That's very, be as complicated as you really are.
I'm not sure if I would just give that to someone starting off in comedy.
No, I don't think they would even like, yeah.
I'm not sure. I mean, it depends on what they were working on, right? Like, if they were already coming from a point of view where it felt like something was happening there, maybe they would be ready for that. But I think for somebody starting off, I would say and it depends on what level, but based on the experience I've had, you have to actually do the thing. Like, you have to write the material and go to open mics and revise it and redo. Yeah, like, I think people, especially people that are perfectionists, not that I know what that's like. I think people that are perfectionists that tend to be like good at things because they just like show up, they're like, oh yeah, I can figure this out. Yeah. Like, comedy is hard. Like, it takes, you have to have a certain degree of rigor, and you have to be comfortable with being bad sometimes.
You have to embrace it and just be.
But I think there are a lot of people out there that really want to do comedy that just can't accept that they aren't good at it already, and that the way they have to get good at it is just to do it a lot.
See, that was what you just said is my whole argument for comedy classes. Because my whole thing is, a new comic came up to me and was like, and he was scared to go up one night, which is fine. We're all scared, but you just got to go up.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to take this comedy class, and I'm really going to get it in the works, and then I'll go up and I'll start doing it. And then he did the comedy class, and I'm getting ready. It's like, they're using it sometimes. Not everyone, but a lot of people I know they'll take a comedy class because they don't want to fail.
That's why homework every week for me is go to open mics.
And it should be, see, and I can. That's a good advice as a teacher. But hey, go there.
We talk about what open mics they went to every week. Like, perfect. Go to open mics. Like, that's and ultimately the students that are too afraid to go to open mics start to see the comics that do go to open mics get like exponentially better.
And they're like,
oh, I gotta get to an open mic. But I think that's I think that would be the advice that I have is, like, you have to have some willingness to fail for a while.
Yeah, you have to be okay with failing for
But you actually just have to go do it and, like, go to open mics.
Yeah, that's...
I have a ton of friends that, like, I feel like January 1st of every year, because I do teach comedy, I have a bunch of buddies that email me.
New Year resolution comics. I love when they come to mics. It's awesome.
I have a bunch of buddies, they email me and they're like, Erin, like, this is the year, I'm going to do it. Like, what pointers do you have for getting started? I have pages of comedy written. I'm just like, what do I do? And I'm like, go to open mics. And then February rolls around and they're like, hey, I have so much more. I've got 120 pages of stand-up written. Like, what do I do? And I'm like, have you been to an open mic yet? They're like, I don't feel ready. Like, I feel like maybe if I have a little bit more time to write. It's like, you're not doing it until you're doing it. But every year, without fail, at least, probably I get at least 3 or 4 people that email me, like, this is the year, I want to get into comedy. What do I do? And nobody wants to hear the answer, which is you just have to show up and go to mics.
You got to go up there and fail. And it really, and I have a lot of people hit me up too, and I always try to get them on stage.
Yeah.
And one of them was like, well, I'll be ready. I want to do it. He came to my Friday mic, and how do I get ready? I'm like, go up tonight. I'll put you up. I'll put your name in there. You can go up. And I don't have anything to say or whatever. Let me just write for another week or two. I'm like, you'll learn more up tonight when you bomb than you will in the next 2 weeks of writing in your room. Yeah. Like, just go up there.
I mean, I like to have a plan.
Why he had jokes written out.
Oh yeah,
but he
didn't. Had jokes.
But he was like, oh, I don't think they're ready yet. I'm like, dude, trust me, go up there and just try to do your jokes, bomb whatever you have to do. Yeah. You're gonna learn more tonight than you will trying to write more. And he did. He go up there and he bombed, and you feel like whatever you learn, and then you went up there again, and then it gets less and less.
Yeah.
Whatever, until bombing's not a huge deal, which it's always going to be. Like, bombing's never.
It always sucks. I mean,
it's easier now, I think, but it's still not great.
I've reached that point now where
where you never bomb.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I'm glad you had me on because where actually I started to get even harder on myself with shows where I just feel like I do just okay. Like if I don't feel like I've gotten the audience, like, I feel like something I like to do is, like, really feel out the audience and, like, get them with me, you know? Like, that's something that I like to be able to do that. And obviously we all do, right? Like, you can, like, get everybody on your side. And then the shows where I work really hard to do that and feel like, okay, that was fine. Those, for me, lately have been the shows where I walk away and I'm like, ooh, so hard on myself. It's not even about, like, the shows where I bomb, then at least I'm like, yeah, okay, I bombed. Like, I shouldn't have told this joke up top, or, like, I can analyze it. But there are those shows where you just do, like, yeah, it was fine. Those are the ones that haunt me because I'm like, it's not usually so straightforward.
Got it.
It's like, why couldn't I just get enough traction to get that big applause break? Like, why could I only get one guy in the audience to give me an applause break? Like, in this section where I should have gotten, like, that, those are the ones that now keep me up at night.
Well, that's good, though. It's like, because you don't want to be content, or you don't want to, what is it? Not content, it's like you're trying to just get better. You're setting the bar higher.
Yeah.
Before, it's like, if you're bombing, but now it's like, shows are average. You're like, I don't know why isn't it not that?
Yeah.
Why didn't I have him there?
Yeah.
Like, oh, it was good. That laugh, I can get a big laugh in that and a big applause. Why wasn't that?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I feel like that's what I've been thinking about more and more. And that's tough too with Zoom comedy because, like, nobody kills on Zoom.
Yeah. And then any quote I'm going to take from this is nobody kills on Zoom. That's right.
You can do good.
There's no way.
You can get people to like you. You know what I mean?
There's no way. Even you saying that in my mind, there's no way you are going to kill on Zoom.
But you can definitely do better. Like, you see what comics don't do well on Zoom.
Yeah,
you know
I
what
can imagine.
Like,
I can imagine. Yeah.
But yeah, I think
nobody kills on Zoom. That's my favorite quote today.
Because like by the time you got an applause break, like you already had to move on to the next thing, you know.
Yeah.
Even just timing wise, but also somebody's playing Law and Order in the background.
Oh no. See, now I don't want to do Zoom shows.
I think it's it's up to you. Whatever. This time we're all gonna come out of this time. How we're gonna come out of this time.
I cannot wait to just be done with this.
I'm with you. I gotta lose 10 pounds, but then I'll be ready to be done with it.
You gotta lose your 10, or what is it called? Everyone apparently has the quarantine 10.
It is not 15. They're calling it the quarantine 15.
Yeah, that's what it was. The quarantine 15.
It's more like the quarantine 5.
Okay. Fair. It's just hard to stay motivated, like with working out. I worked out today, or I tried, but it's like there's only so much you can do here. What push-ups and sit-ups and run. I can't. What? That's why I've been going hiking a lot more.
I love hiking. I did a contemporary dance class on my computer. I'm just gonna do this every time I talk about dancing. And
talking about dancing, we're just gonna be like this.
I'm like on the floor in my kitchen, and like the guy is like rolling around on the floor, but I'm like looking over my shoulder and trying to see what he's doing in the computer while I'm like rolling around and I'm upside down. I'm like, I'm not doing this right. My dog is licking my face. Like, are you dying? Come back to life. It's like, this is not good.
There's some things that are just hard.
It's just so hard. Yeah. So I've been taking a lot of dance classes, but it's medium unsuccessful.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, I did an acting class online, but one of it was a movement one. And that was the hardest one because we were like, do this motion. I look back and I'm like, well, how do I do that? Don't look. I'm like, how do I? And I'm like trying to move my body and I'm like, dude, there's no way. Mm-hmm. There's no way. And then I'll get yelled at for not being like, you're Byron, my first name, Byron. Yeah. Move it this way. And I'm like, what? I can't look at you and also do the whole thing correctly. It's just a fucking nightmare. Yeah.
You don't like movement?
No, I know that I've been told to like stretch every day and like be all that movement dancing.
Yeah.
I need to do that more and I don't. And I definitely, when this is done, I'm definitely going to talk to you. I want this shoulder to be better. I think it's my shoulder. And by the way, you telling me that my ankle is connected to my knee made me feel so much better about trying to get this claim done. I'm like, dude, this is awesome.
You're just going to have to find somebody that's willing to say that. I mean,
there's the way that one guy told me is like there's a lot of shady doctors that will do it.
Yeah.
I probably shouldn't say this on the.
I was about to say, let's edit out this part of the tape.
The thing is, I'm not going to edit. I don't want to do any more work than I have to.
You're not going to edit?
I'm going to edit to here. I'm being very honest. I'm going to edit the beginning when we synced. And then whenever we're like, all right, goodbye, everyone. That's it. There's no. I just don't want to do more. Because when Andy was on, we were talking about this topic, and it was very like. He said a word that he was not supposed to say. And he's like, dude, can you edit that out? And I'm like, you know what? Instead of editing out the word, let's talk about why you said it or why we're not allowed to say it. And we talked about it. We had a discussion. And I felt like that was more helpful, or that was better.
That makes me nervous for Andy. You just edit that out for him. It's not okay. First of all, and second of all,
but then he was okay.
No,
with it.
you don't want to like throw your comedy buddies under the bus just because you're too lazy to edit.
I do not care for them at all. I'm just kidding. I will go edit stuff.
Yeah.
I'll edit.
You have like a film degree. Just
I don't have.
Just use your film degree and edit things.
Everything I learned through film is YouTube videos, and I just edit.
Well, watch a YouTube video and edit it.
Fair enough. I will edit some stuff out.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that was good. I don't know how to end this yet.
Oh, is this the end?
I don't know the ending of this. I don't know how to end it. Should we just be like, and that's next level thoughts? See, I didn't have to wait, did that. Anyway, I'm going to edit this at some point. But this is the end of the thing. Thank you for being on.
That was an abrupt ending. I don't even feel like our conversation ended. I feel like we talked about a different episode, and then you were like, okay, that's it.
No, we went on.
I don't want to do any work. Bye. Bye.
That was the best. That's actually pretty funny. Like, I don't want to do any work. This is gonna end now. Well, I didn't even think about that. It was because I should have. Because we started talking about the last question, but then we went further and talked about comedy.
What is the other? That's only those 2 questions.
I think only those 2. I'll ask one more.
Okay.
And this one would be, how about that? Who's your favorite comic? And why?
Never mind. I don't remember. Bye. That's been Next Level Thoughts. There are so many that I like. That.
So to be fair, you're gonna choose an abrupt ending over that question. You're like, I don't like
that. I'm prepared. No. Okay. I feel like. Boy, no one will think I'm likable if they watch this podcast.
It's fine. You'll be alright.
Okay. There are many comics that are my favorite comedian for different reasons.
Okay.
The person that I have been thinking about a lot is Maria Bamford.
Oh, okay.
I think she's a brilliant writer, and I love how accessible she makes her comedy. Like, while she's working out new things, like even right now on Twitter, she'll be like, in 5 minutes, I want to do a one-on-one show over Zoom. Who's available? And like, she'll do that when she's on the road too. She'll do like one-on-one shows at coffee shops.
Really?
To work out new material, as opposed to like take it to an open mic.
So she would pick a random person.
Yeah, and like you do a one-on-one show for her. She'll buy you coffee, or like on Zoom, she's been saying she takes 5 minutes to help them with something they need, right? And like that process and like the honesty of, I'm working this out and I need to get it in front of someone,
mm-hmm.
and also just the way that I think that helps her, the way I would imagine that helps her craft her material is really interesting to me. And that's a question I have too in this time, is like, as I'm working longer and longer sets, like, yeah, I would kill to just have one person that I could do 40 minutes for over Zoom.
Yeah.
And like, why aren't we doing that?
That's interesting. That's the only time I heard that before, like one-on-one shows, and she'll just be like, "Hey, anyone available?" And just
and the first person that responds,
she'll just be like, "All right, let's do it."
I saw it today with it was 2 minutes. It had been posted for 2 minutes, and somebody was already like signed up and gone. Like, it's, but also like how wonderful in this time to be able to do that, as the person that gets to watch Maria Bamford work out 40 minutes of material.
It's so crazy. It's just crazy for her to do that, because like I'm one of the comics, I don't like even telling someone a joke. I don't know if you're that way, like telling, like, if you have a new bit, I hate telling my comic friends, like, I have a bit about this, I'm going to do it. Like, I hate that, because if you don't react the way I want, but it's like, it's because I don't like doing the material before I have to go do it. I'd rather just do it for the first time in front of people. It's funny, if it's not, it's not.
But I think that's smart about why she just gets strangers, right? Like,
but they can't they be mean, I guess?
Yeah.
But like,
But like, in any given audience, aren't there going to be some mean people in there?
I mean, yeah, it's true.
So might as well, like, she does a lot of them. So like, law of averages, right? You'll get some mean people. For the most part, people that are willing to give you their time. I think
gonna be one-on-one person, and it's like having a conversation and working out.
But she does it with Jackie Cation, who she goes on the road with. Sometimes they'll do it, right? They'll like, how nice would that be, just to be able to sit down with one of your buddies and just, here's 20 minutes. Like, I'm just gonna like do 20 minutes for you, and see when you laugh and when you don't. You don't even have to like give me feedback. I can just see how my material is going.
Okay.
And we can do that for each other. Like, I think right now I'm interested in I hate the word sustainable. I want to figure out how to make comedy sustainable in different environments. But it does feel like something about building community through the process and being able to embrace different formats where it isn't necessarily like a room full of people.
Yeah.
So I would say right now she's the person that my brain is working on.
Yeah, I'm definitely like super interesting. I liked her before I went to a table read. She was there for a podcast she was doing, and she crushed that table read. She was so good. Like they were all very good, like for Conan and friends or whatnot.
Yeah.
And everyone was very talented, but she crushed it. She was so funny.
I saw her, so she also does, like, when she's about to do her special, she does free shows at the Clubhouse. You can watch.
Really?
So I went and watched her last special with, like, I don't know, 25 other people at the Clubhouse, which is, like,
Jesus.
You know, this teeny tiny space. Like, you're seeing this special that's going to get filmed in, like, a big theater, and she's just working it out, you know, like, that's her rehearsal. And I love that. Just like I love, you know, you gotta go to open mics. Like, she's practicing.
Like, she's doing the work.
And it's not like, I just, like, rolled out of bed and, like, I'm just funny because I'm funny and, like, I'm showing up and being mean to people. It's like, no, she's actually working.
Do you think that's, like, a high level? I think that's, like, super high level of confidence to do stuff. Like, because one of the special I watched, she filmed it in her living room for her parents.
Yeah.
Which, for me, it's like, I obviously have to be confident to do stand-up, but, like, there's a certain level. It's like, because you like the applause and you get it and you feed off of it. But for me, if I don't have that, if I'm just performing for, like, 2 people, it's so much, like, that's such a scary thing, I would think, or I would imagine.
But if you could do that, like, couldn't you do anything then?
Then, that's what I'm saying. When you said that, like, the one-on-one thing, I'm like, man, if I can do that and do, like, this for 2 people and that, like... That I'm sure builds your confidence up to a fucking super high level.
Yeah.
Huh.
I don't know. So she's the person.
Yeah. I like that. I like her. She's good.
I do too. Oh my gosh. She's, like, good at everything, too. Like, her writing is amazing. She's great at characters, you know.
That characters, for sure. The one character she did on the podcast was, I think it was like a little girl or something. Mm-hmm. But she did the voice, like, everything was perfect timing. I'm like, dude, like, she's good. She got the biggest laughs, and it was, I like that person. I like that answer. I'm going to start asking that question as well. That was the first time I asked it, and I like it. So how was that? Was that a better... I feel like that was
That's it. That is the episode. Thank you so much for coming on Next Level Thoughts with Erin Tracy. I'm really glad to have you here today.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you so much for having me. I love you guys. Bye.
That's my guest, Patrick Jara.